Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Today we are going to discuss the epithelial tissue in our third lecture. We'll talk about the glandular epithelium. The objectives of this lecture is to identify the structure and types of glandular epithelium, identify the structure and types of exocrine glands, identify the different modes of secretion in exocrine glands, and to identify the types of exocrine gland secretory products. The contents of this lecture is glandular epithelium, glands, and endocrine glands, and the exocrine glands which are classified according either to number of cells or according to the shape, according to the node secretion, according to the type secretory products. These are the contents of this lecture. First, we start with glandular epithelium. The epithelial cells can be specialized to produce and secrete various macromolecules, and these cells can form specialized organs called glands, and in each gland we have secretory. The glandular epithelium we have secretory products or secretory product that is stored into secretory granules, which are membrane-bound vesicles. The glands can be divided depending on the route of secretion into exocrine glands and endocrine glands. We'll start with the endocrine glands. The secretory products of these glands called hormones, and they are secreted directly into the blood. There are no ducts. The exocrine glands, which will be the focus of this lecture, they release the secretory products onto the free surface of the skin or mucous membranes, and they have tubular ducts. The exocrine glands can be classified according to the number of cells into unicellular or multicellular glands. They classified according to the shape into the tubular glands, alveolar or acinar, or tubulo-alveolar or tubulo-acinar. According to the mode of secretion into holocrine glands, apocrine or merocrine. Can be classified according to the secretory products that is produced by the glands into mucous glands, serous glands. The secretory products can be mucus or serous. Okay, and accordingly the gland can be serous or mucus or mixed. Classification according to the number of cells, either unicellular or multicellular, as we mentioned. Most of the glands they are multicellular. The unicellular glands they are called goblet cells. They are scattered among other non-secretory epithelial cells in the respiratory tract or the digestive tract, or also in the female reproductive tracts. In the reproductive system, we have also unicellular glands composed of one cell. They have no ducts, but they secrete their products directly on the free surface. And the most common unicellular exocrine glands are the goblet cells, which are mucus secreting cells. Goblet cells, light microscopy, can be seen like this. These are the goblet cells. As we see, they are found within the cells of pseudostratified columnar epithelium ciliated pseudostratified columnar epithelium that can be seen in the respiratory tract, trachea. We have goblet cells. هي سموها goblet لأنها بتشبه الكأس. The apical part is broader, the basal part is narrow, it contains the nucleus and rough endoplasmic reticulum. In the electron microscopic picture is very clear. This is the apical part of the cell, goblet cell. We have secretory granules, and this is the basal part of the cell. هي دي صورة مأخوذة on the side الجنبة. هي بنلقى هنا البrush border microvilli. It seems that this is taken from the intestine, because we have microvilli, brush border microvilli. We have the goblet cell with the apical part having secretory granules. The basal part contains R rough endoplasmic reticulum, and this is the nucleus, and this G for Golgi complex. Okay. This is the goblet cell. This is adjacent intestinal cell enterocyte, and this is also enterocyte, the nucleus of enterocyte. This is the nucleus enterocyte, and here we have the brush border microvilli. The exocrine glands also can be classified according to shape into simple glands in which the ducts do not branch. So in simple glands the ducts do not branch, are not branching. The compound glands, the ducts do branch, they are branching. So they are classified into simple and compound according to the branching of the ducts. No branching of ducts إذا ما متفرعة simple glands. ducts إذا branching يبقى compound. هنتكلم عن كل واحدة بالتفصيل وأشكال مختلفة وأنواع وأمثلة لها. طيب simple exocrine glands can be simple tubular, simple branched tubular, simple coiled tubular, simple acinar or alveolar, simple branched acinar. هنتكلم عن كل واحدة من briefly. The simple tubular has an elongated secretory portion, and the duct usually short or absent. زي ما شايفين secretory portion يكون elongated like tube, okay, elongated, and the duct is usually short or absent. The examples for this simple tubular: mucus glands, colon, or intestinal glands or crypts of Libericon. Intestinal glands or crypts of Libericon. Okay. عندنا تاني نوع simple branch tubular. زي ما قلنا duct does not branch, but secretory portion is branching and it is tubular. Simple branch tubular. Several long secretory parts joining to drain into one duct. Examples of simple branch tubular glands in the uterus and the stomach. We have also simple coil tubular. The secretory portion is very long and coiled. The secretory portion is very long and coiled. The duct is only one duct, not branching. Examples for this simple coil tubular: sweat glands. simple acinar or alveolar, very much between the secretory portion, is sac-like, rounded secretory portion, and one duct. Simple acinar. Example: small mucus glands found along the urethra. Small mucus glands along the urethra, they are simple acinar. Simple branched acinar, we have one duct, but the acini are branching. We have several multiple sac-like secretory parts entering the same duct. This is called simple branched acinar. Simple because we have one duct, not branching. Branched acinar, the acini are branching. They are multiple entering into the same duct. Example of this: sebaceous glands of the skin. They are simple branched acinar. Now we move to the compound exocrine glands in which the ducts are branching, and it can be compound tubular, compound acinar, compound tubular acinar, or tubular. The compound tubular, we have several elongated coiled secretory units, and their ducts converge to form larger ducts. In the non-secretory portions, they are elongated and coiled, and they have their own ducts that finally converge along بيتصلوا ويفتحوا في larger ducts, compound tubular. Okay. Example for this: submucosal mucus glands of Brunner in the duodenum, compound. Now we move to the compound acinar. In the compound acinar, we have several sac-like secretory portions with their own ducts, okay, with the small ducts that finally converge بتفتح في النهاية at a larger duct. So this is called compound acinar. Several sac-like secretory units with these small ducts that finally converge into a larger. Compound acinar is found in exocrine pancreas, the exocrine part of pancreas, because the pancreas has an endocrine part where to produce insulin and glucagon hormones. The compound tubular acinar, we have ducts of both. We have tubular secretory units or acinar secretory units. Both of them, all of these have ducts, and the ducts finally converge into a larger ducts. The ducts of both tubular and acinar secretory units converge. The ducts of tubular and acinar secretory units converge at larger ducts. Compound tubular acinar, example salivary glands. Okay. Now let's move to another type classification according to the mode of secretion: neurocrine secretion, holocrine secretion, or apocrine secretion. The neurocrine secretion or neurocrine glands, most exocrine glands are neurocrine, and here we have it is the most neurocrine secretion is the most common method of protein secretion. which is typical exocytosis of proteins or glycoproteins. زي ما شايفين, this is the secretory portion, acinos, and this is the duct. We have here the secretory, at the apical part of the cells, we have the secretory vesicles that secrete, release the contents via exocytosis into the ducts that move from the lumen to the ducts. An example of these merocrine glands, sweat glands, salivary glands, pancreas. Most of the exocrine glands are merocrine that release their secretion via typical exocytosis. Exocytosis of proteins. The second type or mode of secretion is a holocrine. In the holocrine, there is complete cell disruption. The cell dies disrupted with the release of the product and cell debris into the gland's lumen. زي ما شايفين هنا في الجراف دي, هنا الهولوكراين gland هي مثالها sebaceous gland موجودة. This is a hair follicle. الكبير هنا للgland, secretory portion and the duct. نشوف هنا the cells, the apical part بنلقى disintegrating cells here and their contents. Disintegrating cell and contents, they are secreted into the secretory product, both of them. So in the holocrine there is complete cell disruption with the release of the secretory product together with cell debris into the glands, lumen, and then into the duct. Example, this is best seen into sebaceous glands, the skin. Here sebaceous glands are associated with the hair follicles, most commonly associated with hair follicles. Okay. Sebaceous glands are holocrine. The third mode of secretion is the apocrine, and the secretory product in the apocrine accumulates as the cell's apical ends, the apical part of the cell, and the product is released together with a bit of cytoplasm, apical cytoplasm, and plasma membrane. And this occurs in the mammary gland, the apocrine secretion. As we see here, this is the secretory portion, and this is yellow color is duct. This is a magnification from the mammary gland. As we see here, finishing off apical portion of the secretory cell. The apical part of the secretory cell or cell cytoplasm membrane is pinched off and released into the lumen of the gland and then into the duct. This is the milk. Okay, so the product is released together with part or bit of apical cytoplasm and plasma membrane, so-called apocrine. The apical part of the cytoplasm is released with the products, secretory part of the apical cytoplasm and plasma membrane. This is a histological section of sebaceous gland as an example of holocrine gland, holocrine mode of secretion. As we see, C stands for capsule, and this is the duct, D duct, lumen, and here we have the duct. These are the cells of the sebaceous gland. As we see towards the lumen, we have ruptured, disrupted cells that secreted with the secretory product into the lumen and then into the duct. So this is an example of holocrine secretion. The other example here, we have mammary gland, also histological section. Both of them are stained with hematoxylin and eosine stain and seen by light microscope. The mammary gland, we have the apocrine mode of secretion. As we see here, this is the secretory portion. These arrows indicate the secretory product together with a bit of apical cytoplasm is released. As we see, this arrow, this arrow, this arrow, and this arrow, we have the secretory product released is part of the apical cytoplasm and plasma membrane. Okay, this is apocrine secretion. Apocrine secretion in mammary gland. Also, the exocrine glands can be classified according to the secretory product into serous glands, mucous glands, and mixed seromucous glands. The serous glands, they produce and release largely enzymes or proteins and they stain darkly with hematoxylin and eosine, as we see here in this image seen by light microscope, stained by H&E. We see serous glands. These are serous secreting cells. Okay, and this stands for duct. Okay, this is an example of serous gland. That stand. As we see, this is acini, lumen of the acinus, and this secretory product red. The mucous glands, they produce mucus, and the oligosaccharide components of mucus stain poorly with the routine dyes H&E, but they are better stained with other types of stains like PAS or periodic acid skin stains. Never mind. Let's focus on that. The mucous glands, they produce mucus and they appear under a light microscope like this picture. Here, these pale appearing cells are mucus cells. These arrows indicate the lumen of the acini. السينس اللي هي زي الليمونة كده، في النص في اليومن، وحوالين اليومن هي mucus cells. D stands for duct, CT stands for connective tissue. The third type is mixed seromucous glands. They have both serous acini and mucous tubules capped by groups of serous cells. This image H&E stained example of mixed seromucous gland. M stands for mucous cells, and A for acinus, and S for serous cells, S for serous cells, and M for mucous cells. As we see, the serous cells sometimes they form demilume, crescentic shape around mucous cells. They are called mucous acini with serous demilunes. Okay. This is an example of mixed seromucous gland. And some salivary glands, they are mixed, like the submandibular gland. Submandibular gland is an example of submandibular salivary gland is an example of mixed gland, seromucous gland. Okay, we reached the end of this lecture, and in this lecture we can summarize in points that the glands can be divided into endocrine and exocrine glands. The endocrine glands produce hormones and secrete them directly into the blood. The exocrine glands release the secretory products into the free surface, and they have ducts. Exocrine glands. Exocrine glands can be unicellular. Just scattered cells, goblet cells into the respiratory tract or digestive tract or reproductive system. glands, or unicellular or multicellular glands. Okay, the simple exocrine glands are either simple tubular, branched tubular, coatubular, simple acinar, or branched acinar. The compound exocrine glands are either compound tubular, acinar, or tubular acinar. The modes of secretion are either merocrine, holocrine, or apocrine secretions. The exocrine glands are either serous, mucus, or seromucous glands. And good luck. Thank you.